The fun of not being live for a while. That they changed the live video stuff. So I'm trying to figure it out. Hello, Kimber. Okay, so at least I know there are comments now. And hello, Kat. I haven't done a live video in a while. So, and it seems every time I do a Facebook Live, they have changed the settings. So I have to figure it out all over again. So, for those who are new or you need a refresher that it's been a while, my name is Jax West. We are on the Justice with Jax page. I also run Stephen Avery Project and MAM Gossip. So, most of you come to this page due to my involvement, or I don't know if you want to say my involvement, but in the Stephen Avery case. So, I've been kind of MIA for a while doing other things. And I saw this morning that the new season of Tiger King was up on Netflix. So I did binge it this morning. And I believe it was only 5 episodes. So I've watched all 5 episodes of the new seasons. So this video is like spoiler alert for y'all. So if you haven't watched it. So just warning you from the get-go that I want to discuss the things that they covered on the new season. Keeps pausing. Carrie, welcome to when I do these Facebooks. That my service here is horrible, and we are considering going back and doing videos on YouTube. I think we didn't have nearly the same amount of problems on YouTube than we do here on Facebook. So it would like originate on YouTube, but then we would share it over here on Facebook for you all as well. So hopefully you my service is not too crappy for you all. And now another one says, Karen says Frozen. So I never know. Should I continue? Is it just some people having issues? Or everybody having issues? Facebook is a Smurf cat. Cat, are you having problems? Before I continue any further? Because I don't want to sit here and blab forever. And then it turns out that the people who are live are 7 times it's paused, Carrie says. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this and then figure out and try and go on YouTube and get it connected over to here, and maybe we won't have the freezing problems. So and now Christopher just messaged me and says it's fine, and then Tamara said it's fine there. I believe also then when people watch this that it's not recorded, or when it's not live, then there aren't all these pausing problems. I don't know. All right, then forget it. I'm going to soldier through the live video for now. And then the next time we do a live, I will try it from YouTube. So hopefully we won't have these issues. So sorry for y'all who are here live now if I'm going to be pausing and being stupid. All right, so first I want to cover Tiger King. and then we'll get into the Rittenhouse trial. Before I start talking about either one, let me just say that these are my opinions. I am not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. This is how I feel about the Tiger King case, as well as once we get into the Rittenhouse case. Maybe you'll agree with me. Many of you won't. But they're my opinions. You are free to disagree with me, but you need to be nice about it. I have not been on. I know Christopher posted the Rittenhouse stuff on Justice with Jax, and then he also did in Gossip, and I think on Stephen Avery Project too. And it's caused a ton of drama, and people have not been being nice. And I don't like that. On my pages, if you're going to disagree with somebody, that's fine. But if you get nasty, we're just going to delete it. So, thank you, Nana. Thumbs up. So, know that going in, that whatever I'm about to say, you can say you don't agree with it. That's fine. But if you get nasty, you're gone. Easy, right? Okay. Tiger King 2. I don't know when Tiger King... Oh, my pain is horrible. I currently, Rebecca, have my foot massager going right now, so you might hear that thing going. I don't know when Tiger King came out, part 2. I don't know if it just came out like today or what. But, so I just watched it, as I said at the beginning, and I watched all 5 episodes. A friend of mine called me today, and we were talking about other things, and I had said that I had watched Tiger King, and she said, I have no interest in watching the second season. I mean, what could there possibly be new worth doing a whole nother season on? And I said, well, actually, there was some stuff there. So let me start out on my opinion on Tiger King is everybody in Tiger King. Oh, thanks, Kat. Just dropped today. They're all crappy people. I don't like a single one of them. I don't like the Tiger King. I don't like Carol Baskin. I don't like the bald do-rag guy. I don't like any of them. And I don't think a single one of them are doing anything out of the goodness of their heart for wanting to take care of animals. All of them, Carol Baskin included, is using these animals to make money. Carol Baskin may think she's being more humane. She's not being any more humane than anybody else. She is using these animals for personal gain. They're not running free somewhere. They're still in a cage. And she's still selling tickets. So, I don't like any of them. I believe Joe Exotic does deserve to go to prison. But due to what he's done to the tigers. Just like if you follow the Stephen Avery case, Stephen was always going to go to prison because he was a felon who had a gun. Now, there's all kinds of shadiness going in there. That why would they give Stephen a hunting license if he's not allowed to have a gun? And he's not a felon due to the Penny Bernstein case that he was then proven innocent of. This is for Stephen for when he was pointing the loaded weapon at his cousin. Stephen didn't completely understand what the rules were there. And the gun that they got him for wasn't his gun. It was his landlord, Raleigh Johnson's gun, that was hanging on the wall that Stephen didn't pay any attention to or touch or use. But the law, the rules say, if you're convicted of a felony, you can't own a gun. So Stephen would, now I don't know what the time would have been, what he actually would have been sentenced if that was his crime. But they were going to get him on anything. So in Joe Exotic's case, I do believe there has been abuse of the tigers, and he deserves to go to prison for that. Now, when it comes to Carol Baskin, I do not believe for a second that there was any real thing of Joe trying to hire somebody to kill her. I just don't. He and that guy, if you saw the first season, he didn't even like that guy, didn't want anything to do with that guy. So why would he hire that guy to do it's just. And I looked at it as this was just something that do-rag bald Jeff Lowe was doing whatever he could to get rid of Joe because he wanted his stuff. So I think Jeff Lowe and his wife also deserve to be in prison. Due to their treatment of animals, as well as everybody else who's in this documentary or whatever you want to call it. But I do not think that there was any real plot from Joe to kill Carol Baskin. I am sure he has said things like, I want her dead. She was harassing the Smurf out of him. So, and you see it in the second season, too, of the stuff she was now doing to Jeff Lowe. And then she's also filmed saying, I always win, and blah, blah, blah. That chick's got such an attitude. And because she killed her husband, I believe, and it inherited all that money, she didn't do anything to earn that money. But when you have that money, you can bury people. If you don't have the money to fight somebody when they go to take you to court, and that's what they do. So there's these, have you heard of defamation or slander? Well, those are very hard to prove, to really do anything with. Who does file defamation and slander suits? Celebrities who have millions of dollars. And that's what they can do, or corporations. They have that money, they can go after you, and you can't defend yourself. You don't have the money. Right, Kat? They do show in this second season that the alleged will is totally forged. And the person whose signature is on it as a notary says she never signed any of this. So there's so much shadiness coming from Carol Baskin, and now she's probably going to sue me when she finds this. If she comes across this video, I'm next. The second season goes over the guys who were the ones that were key in putting Joe away. Jeff Lowe, the mullet bald guy, and the other dude who was the alleged hitman. They're all saying Joe said this and Joe said that. And now they're recanting it all. Oh my God, yeah, O.J. Simpson. Who, talk about a murderer. Um, so they're saying that it was the government who told Jeff Lowe and what they needed in order to prosecute Joe. And so they made it happen. And then they got all his stuff. And then Carol Baskin sued. And then she got it all. And she's not doing it out of the kindness of her heart and wanting to take care of the animals. She's doing it because she's a power-hungry smurf and wants more money. That's all. So I do recommend, if you saw the first season and you liked it, I do recommend you checking out this new season. I don't want to get too into it because with it being so new, I want you all to watch it for yourself, and maybe we'll do another live next week on Tiger King season 2. So now hopefully more people have watched it, and so there wouldn't be spoilers for people. So that'll be your assignment is to watch it, and then we'll do a live next week and discuss it. And I'll try and do it from YouTube or whatever, Zoom, I don't know, to see if maybe there's better reception there. So, but to sum up Tiger King, again, they're all bad. They're all taking advantage of these animals. But Joe Exotic shouldn't be in prison for trying to have Carol Baskin murdered. And some of the things that the alleged hitman says to prove that the whole plot really wasn't about killing Carol, it was about killing Joe. I think you'll find interesting. So, it's only 5 episodes, and each episode's only like 40 minutes. So, hey, Bryce. So, you missed all the Tiger King stuff, and it wasn't an owl, Bryce. Carol Baskin killed her husband, and Joe Exotic did not try to kill Carol Baskin. He hates her with very good reason to hate her, and he said some not very nice things about her. And I also think Joe is very creepy. But like I said, I don't think any of the people in this documentary, nobody's a good person. But check it out. We'll do a live next week, and then we'll go over it then. Now let's move on to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. This is where people are not going to like me. So on Stephen Avery Project and in MAM Gossip, we try to really keep it about the case. Okay, Andrea, I'll write you a note. Try to keep it about the case. I don't want to get into politics there. I know there's lots of Stephen Avery supporters. I'm sure, Bryce. I know there's lots of Stephen Avery supporters who are not going to be on the same side of the aisle that I am. And that goes along with pretty much how people side on the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So, but let me again say, you're going to have the right to disagree with me, But if you get nasty towards me, towards politics, towards any of the people, other people who post, don't. No, Rebecca, I haven't seen they're talking about me on the family page again. Oh, Lordy. No, I have not. Okay, so Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty. He murdered those people. Point blank, end the period. But y'all know when you're an advocate for the wrongfully accused, you know our system here in the States, particularly Wisconsin, where this case is horrible. I do not trust our system even a teeny tiny bit. And I know there are ways, so many ways, to cheat the system on all the different levels of our government and in our law enforcement and in our courts. This was a kid who it is not legal for him to open carry that gun. I know they're trying to use something to go around that by saying the length of the barrel or whatever, blah, 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 rifle. Thank you, Rebecca. The kid's not allowed to have that gun. And let me educate you all too on that. When you call something an AR-15, you just make people who are pro-gun make fun of you, because every gun that looks like that, it's an AR does not stand for what people think it stands for. I can't remember what it stands for. I don't care. I'm sure people are going to correct me on it. I still don't care. But it's an AR style weapon. Okay. I actually own one. My husband got me one for my birthday or Christmas. I've never done anything with it. Blake, it's not legal for that underage child to open carry that AR style weapon. It is not. So I have an AR style weapon. I have gone to a shooting range and fired it, and do see the fun. But I still really could care less about guns. There you go. Armalite. Thank you. And thank you, Rebecca. My husband is an NRA instructor with his concealed carry in every state that it is legal. I took concealed carry class and passed. I am not a gun aficionado, and I've actually worked on gun legislation to, for gun reform. So go figure that my husband literally has a Glock on his hip at all times, and I'm somebody who has worked on legislation to try and get better gun laws. And anybody who is a good gun owner wants responsible gun laws. My husband is somebody who was raised with guns. He's but he said once he got his concealed carry license, that changed everything for him, because he doesn't want to lose his rights to carry, and there's so much responsibility when you have that. So like if we were in a store and somebody started shooting, He's not going to automatically go and shoot the gun person because he could be held liable. So he's going to protect himself and his loved ones that he's with, but he's not gonna just go shoot him up. And he has also denied teaching people concealed carry because he does not believe that particular person should have a gun. And he doesn't want to be the one responsible that this person is now carrying a gun. So, responsible gun owners want responsible gun laws. Nobody's trying to take all your guns away. They can try and scare you with all of that, but it's not happening. Nobody's taking your guns. Hillary Clinton was not going to take your guns. Barack Obama did not take your guns. So Kyle Rittenhouse was not there doing a good deed to protect this car lot or whatever the frick it was from being looted or burned or whatever they want to say it is. And you can give me any excuse you want saying you have a right to defend your home and your property and blah, blah, blah. Have you ever been to a rally or a protest? I've been to many. I have been to George Floyd marches in Chicago. I am in a Chicago suburb. So I've been to them in Chicago to events that were organized by Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a great organization that was started by women, by the way, because of the danger to their black sons. Black Lives Matter is not a hate group. They're not terrorists. One of the Black Lives Matter events that I went to in Chicago after George Floyd was so well organized, and everybody there was so loving, so accepting of everyone else. Not everybody. There's going to be douchebags everywhere. So the thing that I do when I go to those kinds of events is I am going to use my white privilege. Let me educate you on what white privilege means. White privilege doesn't mean that you had a great life and was born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you've got a ton of money. White privilege just means that your life hasn't been made harder due to the color of your skin. Where many black people, black and brown, people of color, indigenous people, that's not the case for them. So when I go to these rallies, I use my white privilege to get to the front of the line to be where the police are. And then film. Because I am there to be a witness and to try and de-escalate if I can. I am martial trained for these kinds of events. I was trained by someone whom I love, black woman, who trained me how to de-escalate. But also there's training on how to escalate if need be. If it is the kind of protest where now you're going to sit and you're not going to move and people are going to have to drag you off and maybe you're going to get beat with a club. Now, I've never had that happen to me, but I have used all these years now her de-escalation tactics. So I will try to diffuse the situation, and I am just filming it so if it's needed. I did see people that would be on my side who were attacking, not physically, the police that were there. The police were there to make sure, most of the police, that everybody's rights are protected and that it is safe for everyone. And you're always going to get some Smurf bags who are now feeling all tough, and they're going to mouth off to the cops and say really nasty things to the cops. And the thing that I noticed, 9 times out of 10, the people who were mouthing off to the cops were white. So at the one event I did with Black Lives Matter in Chicago, we marched through a section of the town, and then we got back to where we started, and then they wanted everybody to take a knee for those 11 seconds or whatever it was. I'm really bad with remembering numbers. Some people spoke, and it was nothing like, "Rawr, we're mad and we're gonna go do this and let's, destroy Chicago." There was none of that. Then at the very end, they asked, "Where are the white people at?" And then all of us white people had to raise our hand. And then they said, "We want the buddy system. We would like if the white people would now walk the people of color to their vehicle, to their train stop, to their bus stop, wherever it is," because something that wasn't being covered in the news is that when the cameras stop rolling and a rally, march, or whatever is over, that's when then cops were beating up on the people of color. So this wasn't, "Now everybody go and trash the city." It was, "White people, please just walk the people of color to their destination. Thank you very much." It was really a nice experience. And it was, people were supplying you with bottles of water and snacks and all this. And I felt completely safe. And I went to that by myself. I wasn't there with friends or anything. I was just there by myself doing that march. Now, another one that I did was in downtown Chicago. I don't recall who organized that event. I did the same, where I was getting to the front and wanting to, be where the cops are to monitor what was going on there. And so this was in the Loop, and I have been part of and have organized so many things in Chicago that started here at Federal Plaza. Lots of times, people don't want just a rally where you're going to talk. They also want there to be a march. In Chicago, there is a Trump Tower, and that's what most people who come to these events, they then want to march to Trump Tower and take pictures of themselves giving it the finger or whatever. Every other thing that I've been a part of, the cops, the Chicago cops, have been really great. Because these marches, a lot of them do not have a permit. They're happening spontaneously. And yet there are the cops right away making sure that streets are getting shut down, intersections, so people can walk safely to go to the next spot. Has not been an issue. When I organized an event after Charlottesville, and now remember in Charlottesville, the girl was murdered because somebody drove their car in and ran people over. So I was doing marshaling, that I was the last line of the march, making sure, everybody's going. And Chicago had all their snow plows and all the big equipment. I even took a picture of it behind me. So they were driving behind us with that big equipment, making sure no car could then drive through the people that were marching down the street and kill us all. So every other event I've been a part of, was fine. This one, all of a sudden, there was a black guy who a cop grabbed him and pulled him down a side street. And so the crowd followed. And I followed too, because what are you grabbing this black guy for? And then his spouse, whoever this girl was that was with him, I don't know if it was a girlfriend, wife, or could be a sister. I don't know. So she's getting upset, and she was also black. And so I follow down there too, recording it. They started beating the crap out of the cops, started beating the crap out of this guy and girl. The reason? The guy had been filming, and they told him not to film. Cops can't do that. You have a right to film. You don't have to turn your camera off. And for that, they pulled this kid and started beating the crap out of him, which is then incensing the crowd. Because we're there. This was after George Floyd. We're there because of that whole situation, and now we're watching cops beating up a black guy. And also manhandling a black woman. And then at some point, the cops blocked the path. So the crowd couldn't go forward any longer. Now, like I said, the crowd just wants to go to Trump Tower. And they mill around in front of Trump Tower. And they give it the finger. And they take pictures of it. It's nothing. But now by the cops first beating up this guy. And now trying to stop people from going forward, it was causing a very hostile situation. There was no need for that. There were no guns. Nobody was there shooting at anybody. I have never been to one of these events in Chicago where somebody's bringing a gun. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm here. I know there's plenty of shootings in Chicago. It's not great, the amount of shootings that's going on there. But I'm talking in connection to Rittenhouse. So Rittenhouse was not employed by anybody to come protect their property. Somebody just marching, or even if they're going to key a car or cut the tires or whatever, doesn't give you the right to shoot them. I don't care what any stupid, if you want to cite to me whatever law on protecting your stuff and blah, blah, blah. That's excessive force. They don't have guns. They're not shooting you. It's not your business. When you look at this kid's past history, he just wanted to shoot some people. I don't care what anybody said to him. Calling him names, hurting his feelings, doesn't mean you get to shoot them. No, he was not asked by the car lot's owner to be there. That person has said they were not asked. They did not ask him to be there. And after you kill one person, somebody trying to save the lives of other people coming at you, or even pointing a gun at you, I'm sorry, you can't use self-defense. You're a murderer, and you need to be taken down. You know, the people that want to protect that thin blue line, are you going after cops when they kill somebody, when they've pointed a gun at a cop? No, you don't. So the kid is a murderer. Killed two. Tempted a third. Here's my husband. The Wisconsin Castle Doctrine provides civil and criminal protections to property owners who use force against intruders in order to protect themselves, their family or guests, or their property from serious harm. Specifically, the doctrine states that, quote, someone in their home, oh, it just popped up. Now I got home, business, or motor vehicle has no duty to retreat from an attack or intruder and presumes the use of force is reasonable to prevent death or serious harm. And Jana, this is where again we can agree to disagree. It's not self-defense. He murdered that guy. His life was not in any danger. He went there with a gun he was not allowed to have. And he shot somebody. 3 people. And this is a very slippery slope. Because in my activist life, my life is threatened all the time. I've had a guy that came to my protest make a post telling me he has a gun and I better not push his wrong button. So does that mean I can bring a gun there and kill him? Yeah, I know they dropped the gun charge. It's bullshit. Because there's a very horrible judge. It's not like that's the first time that's ever happened, that there's a bad judge. And this judge is horrible. One of the worst. Here's my political hat. This is why it's important to vote. Midterms are in 2022. Judges are running for election. This is why it's important to make sure that we have good judges on the bench and not this whack job in Wisconsin. Jeff said, self-defense is not valid when you knowingly place yourself in harm's way. Was not his property, home, etc. He is not licensed security, WIC card, etc. Bias in Wisconsin, I don't believe it. Yeah. I mean, even with the, jury pool, that usually the clerk is the one that's picking which jurors stay and which ones now get dismissed. And he lets Rittenhouse pick them. That never happens. It's the clerk that does that. That's weird. What's that about? Rittenhouse is absolutely going to be found not guilty because the court sucks. So he's getting away with it, no doubt. But just because a jury finds somebody not guilty doesn't mean they're innocent. Just because a jury finds somebody guilty doesn't mean they're guilty. How many of you have served on a jury? I have. Not a murder case. My case was possession of an illegal narcotic with the intent to deliver. This was a drug dealer, cocaine, who was offering to sell a bunch of cocaine to an undercover cop. The deal was made in a restaurant. And across the street from the restaurant is a grocery store parking lot in a strip mall. We had in evidence this guy's priors. We had in evidence the phone call between in making the deal. We had, since this was this whole sting thing, um, there were undercover cops that were stationed in all the exits of the parking lot where the deal was being made, so the guy wouldn't be able to get away. And so we were able to listen to all their chatter. Now, I didn't know of the Stephen Avery case then. I don't even know if the Stephen Avery case had happened then. I can't do that math. Jeff, do that math. I was 19. Was I 19? 19 or 20 when I was on that jury. So long time ago. Um, we had the actual cocaine. We had the money that would have been offered to him, all that. And so the guy was totally guilty. But also, Stephen Avery case, what don't I know about the case? That's, so much gets hidden from the jury. The jury doesn't have all the facts. But from what I was given as the jury, the guy was totally guilty. When we go into the jury room, the first thing that had happened was we're going to take a vote on how many guilty and how many innocents there are. It was all guilty but one. And then that person said, now remember, the charge was possession of an illegal narcotic with intent to deliver. So you had a chalkboard that you could take notes and stuff and write on. And so the guy had written the word possession and then looked up the legal definition of the word possession. And so possession meant, I don't remember the exact definition, but it was that you have complete control over whatever it is. And so this person's argument was he legally couldn't have possession because if he decided, I'm not going to sell you this cocaine, he couldn't have driven away. The cops would have stopped him since they were all stationed at these different things. So therefore he didn't have possession. So not guilty. We then were in that jury room for 2.5 days. Because also the person was enjoying that they would give us lunch and dinner. And, and it's like they order you pizza. It's not like you're having a 5-star chef or, whatever. And eventually the person then said guilty and we convicted the guy. But that's why I've served on a jury. I've seen it. And we did, just like you're hearing in the Rittenhouse case of they're asking to see this and they're asking to see that. We would have that too, that a note was then sent to the judge that it's given to a bailiff or whatever. And it's like, okay, we want to see the cocaine. And so then they brought in this brick thing and they got passed around in the jury room to everybody can see this cocaine. And so the Rittenhouse jury is asking to see the video or this or that or whatever. I'm not paying too much attention to the actual case because I know the guy's going to be found not guilty because it's just clear to me. That's the way it's going to be. And the guy is guilty. He went there looking for a fight. I know when I'm going to a Black Lives Matter or a rally like that, I don't bring a gun. I'm not fearing for my life. Everything's all fine. I would have no need to bring a gun to that. People are going to walk down the street and they're going to chant and they're going to hold signs. For the most part. Yes, we hear the stories of when buildings were broken, stores were broken into, and stuff like that. Not saying that doesn't happen, but that also doesn't give you the right to bring a gun and shoot people. Walking down the street and doing chants can be fun and empowering. One of my favorite chants when I had done that Black Lives Matter one, um, that was all peaceful, except for some douchebags saying stuff to the cops. Um, but the cops were all dressed and ready for a fight, so they're kind of fanning those flames. Um, but my favorite chant was, "Why are you in riot gear? I don't see no riot here." I loved it. I thought that was hysterical. Um, Jordy has a question for Jeff. Can you explain why the gun charge was dropped? Sorry, might be wrong wording. They dropped it because a kid can have a rifle to go hunting. And so the gun can be X long. And so that is legal. But it's not legal for him to have that AR style weapon. So they're just doing some semantics. So it has to do with the length of that gun. So they're comparing it to a regular hunting rifle. But that's not a hunting rifle. Nobody goes hunting with an AR style weapon. Unless they're hunting people. Like Kyle Rittenhouse was doing. Kyle Rittenhouse, who has, since he murdered those people, gone to many of events where he's bragging that he killed those people, showing the white power symbol. Quite proud of what he did, and he's being celebrated by what he did. By people who are racist and hate people of color. He murdered white people, yet the whole racist world is celebrating it because it was an event due to cops killing black men. They're hunting what, Jeff? Doesn't it? It's gonna. What are you gonna eat after you shoot that? So I'll go live whenever this verdict comes in. Not as soon as it does. It's going to depend on what's going on. What time is it now? Okay, because I've got an event tonight. Um, and then I'll also be looking on doing it on a different platform too. So hopefully we don't get the freezing in and out. Kat says Kyle Rittenhouse was out that night looking for trouble and he found it. It was not self-defense. He was not defending his own property or in fear for his life. Right. And after you kill one person, anybody else now who is trying to de-escalate the situation and get that gun from you so you don't murder more people doesn't give you the right to kill those people and that those people are doing something wrong. And then victimizing the victims. I'm not following that of people saying this guy did this wrong and this guy did that wrong. Don't care, doesn't give you the right to kill them because they did something wrong. Yeah, Jeff, but you're just killing the coyote to kill them, correct? It's not something that you're gonna go deer hunting with. You're gonna ruin the meat. Um and Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have his friend. It wasn't legal for him to buy that gun either. Yet it's in his possession. His friend admitted on the stand that he bought the gun for him because it wasn't legal for this 17-year-old kid to buy this weapon. He didn't buy it to go deer hunting. So, and I know there's lots of people who don't agree with me here, which is your right. I don't care. He killed those people and attempted to kill that third guy. And he had no right to do that. It's not a justified killing. It's not a cop in the line of duty. He went there hoping to shoot somebody. And he got his wish. And he's going to be celebrated after this verdict comes in. And when this verdict comes in, buildings are going to burn. People are going to get hurt. I really wish people wouldn't do that because you're giving the side that's against you to begin with more to stoke that flames of look at how they behave, look at what they do, they're rioting, they're looting. I wish they wouldn't do it, but that's my white privilege speaking. I don't live in those people's shoes where time and time again I'm not looked at as an equal person. So, all right, I'm going to call this to an end for today. This was kind of just a spur of the moment live since I came across Tiger King this morning that I wanted to discuss. So, summarizing all of today, Tiger King, everybody's bad and everybody is abusing animals for money in Tiger King. Joe Exotic absolutely deserves to be in prison for his treatment of the tigers, but so does Jeff Lowe, so does Carol Baskin, all of them. But he did not try to kill Carol Baskin. And Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty, but will be found innocent. Or will be found not guilty. He's not found innocent. He's just found not guilty. So we will do a post when we know when we're going to go live the next time. So, and then if anything happens in any of the cases that we cover, we'll bring that to you too. But thank you so much, everybody. And we will talk again soon.